MTN Noon News.
Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us on the Noon News. I'm Augusta McDonald in for Diane Parker. A Billings man wants others in the community and the state to be aware of a potential new scam. Kimard Kunamen got a call from someone claiming to be a Medicaid representative, but he got suspicious when the person on the other end of the phone asked for the date he received his Medicare card. Kunamen told the caller he should already have that information. When the scammer didn't have the right date, Kimard hung up without giving any personal information.
There's too many people getting taken advantage of. And when you get our age, you know, we don't have a very limited income, and it's hard for us to make up whatever they take away from you.
Kimard said the call came in from a 253 area code. If you think you might have been a victim of Medicare fraud, call 1-800-MEDICARE. Some Montanans now have more time to apply for property tax relief. June 1st is the new deadline for applications for the Property Tax Assistance Program, or PTAP. Now, this extension is only for Montanans who had a, quote, substantial hardship in meeting the April 15th deadline. That means anyone applying for the first time who meets the income requirements. Applications for a program similar to PTAP, specifically for disabled veterans and their spouses, will also be due June 1st. Now we have to get to the early leader for Montana's Video of the Year. This is in Butte. Yep, if you haven't seen it yet, that's a live elephant walking in the road near Town Pump. It escaped from a traveling circus that was performing at the Civic Center. Handlers were washing the elephant when a vehicle backfired and spooked it. The elephant was later safely corralled.
Take a look at that U.S. forecast before we get into our local forecast coming up, and we could see some wicked weather. The lower Great Lakes, also Ohio Valley with some severe storms, and not a big potential, but it's not completely off the table where we could see some tornado activity there. Also some heavy rainfall could bring some isolated flash flooding. Northern Rockies, moderate to locally heavy mountain snowfall expected today, and down in the south and the desert southwest, warm temperatures. For us, we have a cold front making its way through, bringing mountain snow to the foothills. Some areas warm enough today where if we have some of that lingering moisture, we could see some rain. This is going to cool us down the next couple of days, but will it affect the weekend? We'll have a complete look at your forecast coming up here in just a bit.
A grizzly had to be put down after a run-in with cattle in the foothills of the Bighorn Mountains near Ten Sleep, Wyoming. That's more than 80 miles from the eastern boundary of the area considered suitable for grizzlies. Grizzly bears haven't been documented here since before the population was listed under the Endangered Species Act in the 1970s. Fish and game experts say if more grizzlies head that way, it could lead to more conflicts with people. On Tuesday, Governor Gianforte joined the Montana Department of Transportation to honor department employees who have tragically lost their lives in service to the state of Montana. A new memorial honors 16 MDT employees from all around the state who died on the job between 1964 and 2018. MDT employees completely conceived, planned, and designed this memorial. Melissa Dykman's husband, Jeff, is one of those employees who died on the job. Jeff was hit and killed in a work zone by an impaired driver in 2018.
Everybody has a choice. You can make good decisions and you can make bad decisions. Because of somebody else's choice, my family is forever changed. We're broken, and we will never be the same.
The Employee Memorial is part of a National Work Zone Awareness Week. The week is an annual spring campaign that encourages safe driving at the start of construction season. And Gallatin County election officials say there is a printing error on Bozeman Elementary School District ballots. Over 35,000 elementary district ballots already prepped to be mailed will mistakenly include a Bozeman High School trustee race. Elementary voters do not typically vote for high school trustees. Officials assure voters that the error will not affect election outcomes. The only filed candidate, Sandra Wilson, is running unopposed and will automatically be elected. Ballots will be mailed to voters on April 19th and must be returned by the May 7th election. Residents of Butte's Upper West Side might have to find a different route home for a while. It's because Butte Silverbow is replacing some water mains. The city's Department of Public Works says the project on Empire Street will unfold in stages, including hooking up to a temporary water source for residents. Officials say once the new main is installed, cleaned, and pressure tested, it will be placed into service and the road will get new asphalt. The project is expected to last through mid-June. And last night, the Missoula City Council approved a $24 million federal grant agreement for several downtown transportation projects. Funding from that grant will allow the city to restore Front and Main Streets back to two-way traffic between Van Buren to the east and Orange Street to the west. It'll also fund the conversion of Higgins Avenue from 4 lanes to 3 between 6th Street to Broadway, including the newly opened Bear Tracks Bridge. Doing so will result in dedicated left turn lanes and bicycle paths and other trails improvements in the area. Construction is expected to start in 2026 with completion in 2028. Now in campaign news, Montana's Senate race will be closely watched all across the country. That's setting it up to be another record-breaking battle in terms of spending. MTN's Jonathan Ambarian has the latest numbers.
With more than 6 months still to go before Montana's general election for U.S. Senate, Democratic Senator Jon Tester and Republican challenger Tim Sheehy have raised significantly more money than Tester and Republican Matt Rosendale brought in the entirety of the 2018 Senate campaign. And the pace of spending is only going to increase as we move toward November. The latest federal campaign finance reports cover the first 3 months of the year. Over that time, Tester's campaign brought in just over $8 million. They spent almost $6.6 million, but still had more than $12.6 million in the bank at the start of April. Since the start of 2023, Tester's raised a total of more than $28.5 million, compared to around $21 million for his entire last race for re-election in 2018. Sheehy, a businessman and Navy veteran from Gallatin County, raised more than $3 million in the first quarter of the year. That includes a $500,000 loan of his own money. His campaign spent $2.4 million and had just under $2 million left in cash on hand. Sheehy has brought in a total of $8.4 million since launching his campaign last June. In 2018, Rosendale raised a total of just over $5.5 million in his run against Tester. That race was Montana's most expensive until 2020's Senate race. At this point that year, incumbent Republican Steve Daines had raised $8 million, while Democrat Steve Bullock had raised $3.3. After Rosendale dropped out of this year's Senate race, Sheehy was left with 2 challengers in the primary. Former Secretary of State and Public Service Commissioner Brad Johnson raised $16,000 in the first quarter, much of it his own money. Charles Walkingchild of Helena didn't have a first quarter financial report posted as of Tuesday. Neither did Tester's one primary challenger, Michael Hummert of Helena. Of course, these reports only cover what the candidates themselves are raising and spending. There have also been tens of millions of dollars in ad reservations announced from outside groups for this fall, as this race could determine control of the U.S. Senate. In Helena, Jonathan Ambarian, MTN News.